now on 767 News. Preschools in Dominica celebrate Commonwealth Day. Veronica Pascal is the recipient of the Exceptional Woman Award for 2015. Caribbean lawmaker believes Dominica's ascension to the CCJ signals a new era. And in sports, Dominica Cricket Academy registered victory in the opening game in the Premier Division competition. Welcome to a new week of 767 News. I am Tanya Green, sitting in for Alicia George. When 767 News returns, we'll bring you the latest developments and stories as they happen. Stay with us.
Count your Thursdays and win up to $24,000 in cash. For every $9 spent on Big 4, you get a raffle ticket to enter our weekly draws to win $4,000 cash every Thursday for 6 weeks. The more you spend, the more tickets you get, the better your chances of winning every Thursday. That's $24,000 in cash. So play Big 4, count your Thursdays and win up to $24,000 in cash. Only from the Dominica National Lottery. Promotion starts from February 24th to April 2nd.
Some call it money transfer. We call it helping him hit his first ever six. MoneyGram, bringing you closer.
Welcome back. Time now for the details of the news. The TC Sunbeam was one of 8 preschools in the Roseau North Early Childhood Development District, which participated on Monday in Commonwealth Day activities. Brenda Matthew, representatives for the Roseau North Early Childhood Development District, in an interview with 767 News, said 2 daycares in the district also joined in the celebration, where the children dressed to represent the 53 nations of the Commonwealth.
Originally, our plan was to have a match from the Pottersville Savannah onto Steber Street, Good Road, and culminate at the Lindo Park. But because of the weather, it's raining on and off, we decided to start our school. So with us, we have the Oasis Preschool joining us and the TC. Laura's Daycare and St. Alphonsus at St. Alphonsus Preschool, and the Yampis and Fokoli Preschools at Fokoli. So we have items on display from different islands, from Jamaica. So our schools, the TC Sunbeam school nations were Singapore, Sri Lanka, Jamaica, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago.
Matthew said each student was dressed in the national wear of the nation they represented, while their parents made a dish from that country.
It is our hope that after today's activity, our preschoolers will have an idea of international and regional issues. They are not too young to learn about the Commonwealth or what countries make up the Commonwealth. They may not be able to name the 53, but at least they may be able to name about 5 of them for you, or even tell you the country represented here today, because in doing so, they may have learned the colors of that country national flag or one of their favorite dishes.
Meanwhile, principal of the Oasis Preschool, Cynthia Barber, said it is important that the young children are made aware of the significance of Commonwealth Day.
We joined TC Sunbeam this morning because we were supposed to go and have the match, but we are unable because of the rain. So we have joined them, and we have 7 schools that we are representing today, and some of the children, 2 of the children Nigerian and 1 Nauru, and we made 2 dishes, which was very important. They can see the different countries and the different things that they did.
Barber said the children were enthusiastic to be part of the event. And 65-year-old Veronica Pascal of Corleho has received the International Women's Day Local Award for being a stalwart in her community and an exceptional woman during her lifetime. Melissa Morgan, project officer within the Bureau of Gender Affairs, explained exactly who is considered for such an award.
It's Sunday and we're here at the Collio Gospel Mission Church for International Women's Day, celebrated across the globe and especially in Dominica. We're here with Melissa Morgan. She's a project coordinator of the Bureau of Gender Affairs. Ms. Morgan, could you tell us why we gathered here today?
Well, as you just said, today is International Women's Day. It's a global annual celebration celebrating on March 8th every year. So today is March 8th, 2015, and we're celebrating International Women's Day. And we're starting the day off with a church service right here at the Collio Gospel Mission Church. And right after that, we'll have a family fun day activity at the Collio playing field.
And of course, you'll be recognizing one woman. What does that woman have to have or have to reflect in order to be awarded?
Well, she'd actually have to be one of the first things. She'd have to have made a significant contribution in the community, including Collio and the neighboring communities, as well as being a positive role model for young girls, as well as making some sort of valuable contribution as a woman in her community as well.
On Sunday, March 8, during a church service organized by the Ministry of Social Services, Family and Gender Affairs, in recognition of International Women's Day, Pascal's life's work was highlighted. An elated Pascal said she was honored to receive such an award.
How do you feel right now, after receiving this award?
I feel very honored and thankful for receiving this award.
Okay, now they listed an extensive amount of things that you did in the community and elsewhere. Do you have any advice for women who are kind of skeptical, wanting to do things, but they're not too sure what to do or whether or not they should do it?
I would urge them to step forward, come forward, and take a stand, be dedicated and committed to make things happen, as the theme for this year says. Let's make it happen.
Okay. Now, anything you'd like to share with us throughout your years in giving and contributing, anything you'd like to share with us?
Well, I've been through some challenges, but with the guidance of God, praying to God, always praying, God is able to see me through. I am able to go through all the problems that I encounter. And with the help, especially we have this senior citizen group, and with their help, with their support, I am very, very, very strengthened to continue working, to do anything in the community.
Among Pascal's extensive work include her service as the first clerk and the first female chairperson from 1970 to 1977 of the Collio Village Council and secretary of the Supervisory Committee of the West Coast Credit Union. She was employed with the Ministry of Communications and Works as a timekeeper in the Public Works Department and president of the Society of St. Vincent de Paul, providing food and basic necessities to the less fortunate. In 2011, she established the Collio Senior Citizens Group and has functioned in the capacity of the president for the last 4 years. In 2013, she was elected to serve as member of the board of directors of the Dominica Council on Aging and currently serves as secretary of that board. International Women's Day was celebrated under the theme, Make It Happen, representing an opportunity to celebrate the achievements of women while calling for greater equality. In keeping with those goals, this year's local theme was Make It Happen, promoting gender equality and empowering women. And Make It Happen, promote gender empowerment, celebrating success of women was the theme for Dominica's observation of International Women's Day, which took place here on Sunday. President of the Dominican National Council of Women, Vanya David, said the council appreciate all the strong women, especially the rural women, who make it happen for others. She made the statement on Friday during a ceremony at the St. Martin's Primary School, or rather the St. Martin's Secondary School, ahead of the observance of International Women's Day, celebrated on March 8 every year.
We want to celebrate the 10 female rural farmers on island who have engaged in the onion and sorrel production through a project of the Canadian Fund for Local Initiative, and later added 2 years of production under the funding of the UN Women. This they made happen.
She said parents, domestic workers, and female farmers and how they make it happen has to be celebrated. David said it is important that the link is reaffirmed between human and women rights and girls in Dominica in the area of development.
There are underdevelopment for women and girls. None of the three pillars, sustainable development, economic, social or environmental development, we cannot say we have achieved all. When we look at 45% of women have experienced either sexual or physical abuse, either by their partners or other persons, is that what we want to celebrate? When we look at 1 out of every 6 girls have been abused before the age of 18, there is a clear failure and a serious denial of human rights. These above statistics show a national failure. Not that we want to blame anyone, but we have to look within ourselves and see where are we going wrong.
The DNCW president said a lot more effort is required for the full realization of gender equality, human rights, and the empowerment of women and girls worldwide. According to her, to date, just a few Caribbean women are struggling to keep human rights on the agenda, which begs her to ask the question, where are we going?
20 years ago, advocates like Josephine Dublin Prince, Mrs. Neva Edwards, both represented the NGO of Dominica National Council of Women. Mrs. Gertrude Roberts, the then Minister of Community Development. These people attended the Beijing platform for women. Upon their return, they implemented life-changing ideas for other women. They look at the program of We Are Family, including a halfway shelter and a safe place for abused women for the Dominica National Council of Women. According to the UN Executive Director, now 20 years later, not a single country of the 189 countries have achieved all the goals that they signed into.
David stated although there has been some progress in Dominica, there is much more work to be done. She said 7 of the 31 parliament members are female, which constitutes a 22.6% of Dominica's total representation of women in parliament. However, the DNCW looks forward to the day when that increases to 33%. Dr. Francis Alexis, QC author and featured speaker at Dominica's Ascension to the Caribbean Court of Justice ceremony, is of the belief that Dominica's ascension to the appellate jurisdiction of the CCJ heralds a bright new era for not only the island, but the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, the OECS. Dr. Alexis believes that this step forward will increase access to justice for even the ordinary citizen residing in Caribbean countries who recognize the CCJ as its final court of appeal.
Typically in a Caribbean society, only a very small fraction of cases in civil matters reach the Privy Council. So too indeed with constitutional matters not related to the death penalty. Therefore, access to final appellate justice at the Privy Council is limited to only the few who are privileged financially to make the crossing from Roseau to London.
To date, the Caribbean Court of Justice has heard 151 cases under its appellate jurisdiction. Dr. Alexis went on to note that oftentimes the local thinking is that international judges and lawmakers are better positioned to rule over cases in the Caribbean. He explained that if a Caribbean court, or any court for that matter, were to repeatedly announce inconsistencies in their decisions, a lot of persons would point them out and may say the court has no idea what it is doing. But at times when the Privy Council is guilty of that same blunder, there is often no opposition.
The Lordships of the Privy Council themselves admit from time to time that the Privy Council is composed of, and I quote, members who are not personally familiar with conditions in the Caribbean. They concede from time to time that a judge sitting in a local constitutional environment with which he is familiar is likely to have a surer sense of what is constitutional than, I quote, not my words, a court sitting many miles away.
Dr. Alexis noted that the Caribbean is home to many distinguished jurists, some who have presided over international tribunals. He also quoted a speech from former President of Dominica, His Excellency Dr. Nicholas Liverpool, which stated that a people who are truly independent have dignity in themselves, end of quote.
A people who are truly independent have dignity in themselves, and they foster such dignity. Dignity carries self-esteem, self-worth, self-pride, self-confidence, self-image, self-respect. They do not harbor the self-doubt which breeds the belief that final appellate decision-making dispenses proper justice only if it comes from their previous colonial masters.
To aid Dominica's ascension to the CCJ, the court's justices held a 2-day training session with registry staff and members of the Bar Association in Dominica, briefing them on the procedural rules of the CCJ. Dr. Alexis also published his latest book on Commonwealth Caribbean constitutional law, which would allow Caribbean citizens and lawmakers to better understand the need to abolish appeals to the Privy Council. When we come back, Minister of Social Services alarmed at the high number of sexual child abuse cases in Dominica, while the Ministry of Health signs an MOU with the French delegation. More on these stories when 767 News returns.
Some call it money transfer. We call it helping him hit his first ever 6. MoneyGram, bringing you closer.
Shopping is a lot easier with Courts Ready Finance. Choose what you want from our wide range of quality products, and we take care of the rest. Courts Ready Finance's affordability means there's no deposit. There's no need for a lump sum of cash. It's flexible, which means you choose your payment term and you're guaranteed the lowest monthly payments anywhere. Best of all, it's easy. Easy to get and easy to pay. Shop at Courts today and get what you want hassle-free. Courts Ready Finance. Easy, affordable, flexible.
Thanks for staying with us. You're watching 767 News. Honorable Catherine Daniel, Minister for Social Services, Family and Gender Affairs, is alarmed at the high number of child sexual abuse cases recorded in Dominica and has called for not only the authorities but community members to stand up and speak out against it. The minister at the time was delivering an address as part of the celebration in Dominica for International Women's Day on Sunday. Minister Daniel said despite the achievements of our women, there are situations which warrant immediate attention, particularly abuse against women and children.
It is very sad. Those of you who listened over the weekend to Mrs. Gemma Seal Luis, on the statistics which reflected on the type of violence that our women face. And the most hurtful one, our children. Our children. And we in the communities, we uphold, even women, we uphold these violent acts against our children. It was sad, very, very sad for me to learn this week 5-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 6-year-olds, the type of violent acts that are committed against these children.
Daniel said too many times persons in the community shelter and protect the perpetrators of these acts, allowing the children to suffer. Some victims, she pointed out, are unable to reconcile and live normal lives because of the level of abuse they have suffered.
We need to break this chain. We need to report these things. And then, we have to advocate, strongly advocate for the long arm of the law. When a man deflowers a young child, this child for life is scarred. The man goes to court, and the court gives the minimum sentence. And this child is spoiled for life. We as women need to take a bolder step. We need to cry out. We need to speak out against these things. Sometimes we say we speak and nothing happens. But if we constantly speak, somebody will listen.
The minister also condemned the condoning of violence against women among themselves, asking that they must muster pride and dignity. She encouraged women to go forward in the interests of national development and the communities, making room to create a society free from violence and discrimination, and creating an environment where gender equality exists. Moving on to court news now, Donfin Nicholas of Santa Roma and Donnell Bellot of Point Michelle have both been jointly charged for the offense of handling stolen car parts, to include a Nissan transmission and 2 stereo sets. The stolen items were estimated at $7,050. They each pleaded not guilty. Meanwhile, an additional charge was laid against Bellot, who stated that without the consent of the owner, he, Bellot, took conveyance, a white Nissan Sentra, for use of another. This offense is indictable, and therefore he was not required to plea. Both incidents occurred on February 28 at Santa Roma. Each man was granted bail in the sum of $10,000 with no bail conditions attached. A trial date has been set for July 16, 2015. Dominica and Guadeloupe's ties was on Thursday further strengthened when the two countries signed a letter of intent to formally develop cooperation between the Princess Margaret Hospital and the Centre Hospitalier Universitaire, the main hospital in Guadeloupe. Minister of Health, Honorable Dr. Kenneth Darrow, said he is thankful that the French delegation is seeking ways to further cooperate with Dominica in the area of health, citing the health of the nation is the wealth of the nation.
This is yet another way the government of Dominica is taking proactive ways to bring optimal health care to the people of Dominica. I think this mission is very timely. As I said, we're on the crossroads of major development in the health sector with the proposed new hospital to be started soon, sometime in this calendar year. We talk about the issue of healthcare financing and, of course, the whole issue of emergency care. As a medical doctor myself, I would have experienced or borne witness to the number of times that people would have required major emergency care services that are not available here in Dominica. And the fact that this team from Guadeloupe right now is here to help us to see how we can facilitate this service speaks volume.
The newly appointed Minister of Health said he is anticipating the training aspect of the cooperation to benefit from the expertise of Guadeloupe's full-fledged university hospital. Dr. Darrow stated he is hopeful that this cooperation will not only remain in the area of health, but extend to areas such as culture, social, and economic.
We both rather subjected to the same issues as small island states. the issues of climate change and all the complications it brings, health-related complications also, the issue of close borders and frequent travel between our countries, and transferring of illnesses, etc. So I'm hoping, as I said, that this is the start of many wonderful things to come. And while I think that it took kind of long in the making, but I'm happy that you're here and we're starting. And as I said, the new Minister of Health, I'm very excited and very happy and look forward to bigger and better things to come in the future.
According to Dr. Daru, the purpose of the letter of intent was to establish protocol where any Dominican who falls sick would have access to emergency care in Guadeloupe based on certain protocols established and certain commitments by the government of Dominica. Deputy Director General of the Centre Hospitalier Universitaire, Patrice Lecomte, is pleased with the agreement.
When we come back in Guadeloupe, we will inform all the physicians, the board of physicians, and our colleagues of this mission and of the interest of this cooperation, big interest of this cooperation. We thank you very much to you and your services to have facilitated this mission.
The French delegation also discussed tertiary care, air ambulance service, communication, traveling, capacity building, training, and finance. That's it for local news. Coming up next, sports with Larry.
Count your Thursdays and win up to $24,000 in cash. For every $9 spent on Big 4, you get a raffle ticket to enter our weekly draws to win $4,000 cash every Thursday for 6 weeks. The more you spend, the more tickets you get, the better your chances of winning every Thursday. That's $24,000 in cash. So play Big 4, count your Thursdays and win up to $24,000 in cash. Only from the Dominica National Lottery. Promotion starts from February 24th to April 2nd.
Welcome to Court's Digital World, where we have the widest range of digital products from the world's best brands, televisions, tablets, laptop computers, mobile phones, and much more. Connect. Explore, engage.
Good evening and welcome to 767 Sports. In tonight's coverage, we begin with cricket. Dominica's Emmanuel Nanton was on Saturday, March 7th, re-elected as the Vice President of the West Indies Cricket Board, WICB. Nanton was returned to his position by an 8-4 margin, defeating Baldaf Maharbir of the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board.
I must say I feel very flattered and humbled that the shareholders continue to place trust and confidence in Dave Cameron and myself. This thing is bigger, much bigger than us. It's about our whole Caribbean civilization. We want to continue to work and do whatever needs to be done to ensure that we restore pride and faith and confidence in our Caribbean community.
Nanton also spoke about the opportunities to grow West Indies cricket further.
We have the opportunity of having 105 young men out now on contract. We're coming to the end of the season. We have about 2 or 3 more rounds of matches, and then the guys go out into camp. It's a tremendous opportunity for our players to work for the first time out of season in camp and getting back to the new season starting in October. I believe it's a tremendous potential. I look forward to that aspect. I look forward to the players going through and coming out to play again in the next season. I think that was going to be very tremendous for us.
Nanton is also the president of the Dominica Cricket Association. In more cricket, the Dominica Cricket Academy registered an outright victory last weekend when the action continued in the 2015 Dominica Cricket Association Augustus Gregoire Premier Division Cricket Competition. The DCA conquered the Fastcast Summits by an innings and 18 runs at the Botanic Gardens. Summits, who are newcomers to the Premier Division competition, batted first and was bowled out for 74. Jelani Robinson with 12 runs and John Rose Regis with 10 runs were the top scorers. Trailing by 126 runs on the first innings and batting a second time, Summit was bowled out for 108, half an hour before lunch on the final day. Jelani Robinson scored 35, Kazmi Benjamin weighed in with 16, and Ian Lewis scored 14. Final scores in the match: Fastcard Summit 74 and 108 all out. The DCA Academy 209 declared. In more sports, Wycliffe Dave Cameron was on Saturday, March 7th, re-elected as the president of the West Indies Cricket Board, WICB, when the WICB held its annual general meeting. Cameron prevailed 8-4 over West Indies fast bowling legend Joel Garner, the current president of the Barbados Cricket Association, in the elections.
I am particularly humbled at this point that the members, the shareholders, have decided to re-elect me. It's been a very difficult couple of months. Prior to that, I think we were sailing smooth, I would like to call it, and would have really been an extremely good year and good term in office. But with every time there's a challenge, there's an opportunity, and we've used that situation in India as an opportunity, and the opportunity we see coming out of this is that we are going to make West Indies cricket better.
The WICB president also spoke about the first order of business.
I've scheduled to go and visit with Prime Minister Mitchell next week, and we're going to sit down and talk about the continued governance challenges. But we also, very, very first out of the box, is really start putting out a lot of the information and even some of the reports that we're tabled here today. So even before we get there on Monday, from today, we now need to start really communicating more to our public.
This is Cameron's second term as WICB president. In football, Lodbo has been crowned as the new champions of the 2014-2015 Carib Sand and Stone Point Michel Football League. In the championship encounter on Sunday at the Pori Park in Point Michel, Lodbo picked up their first league title when they defeated Ian Pinard's Soufriere Spartans by 4-2 in a keenly contested encounter. Delbert Graham found the back of the net 3 times, and Dijano Joseph scored the other goal. For Spartans, Gail Mitchell and Kieran Lewis scored 1 goal each. In more football, the last day of competition in the intermediate round of the 2015 National Bank of Dominica Primary Schools Boys Football Championships took place on Friday at 2 venues, and at the final, 4 teams qualified for the next round. At the Cassibus playing field, it was the Salibia Primary School and the Monjon Primary School which advanced. They came in first and second respectively in the zonal competition. The Jones Bopia Primary School came in third, with Kalibishi, Lighthouse of Concord, and Dubla following in the points table. Over at the Lindo Park in Goodwill, the Goodwill Primary School and the Mao Primary School topped their zone, securing the final 2 positions in the quarterfinals. Massac Primary came in third, Roseau Primary was 4th, Newtown Primary was 5th, while the Petit Savant Primary ended in the cellar position. This means the 8 schools which have qualified for the March 13th quarterfinals are: first, St. Mary's Primary, St. Luke's Primary, Woodford Hill Primary, St. John's Primary, Salibia Primary, Monjon Primary, Goodwill Primary, and the Mao Primary. The quarterfinals will be played at the home grounds of the top qualifiers, and the semi-finals and final will take place on March 18th. The first round of the girls segment of the NBD Primary Schools Football Championship is expected to take place on the 17th and 19th of March. And that's it for tonight's sportscast. Tune in again tomorrow for more sports news.
Oh, many thanks to Larry for the sports. Now for a recap of tonight's headlines. Preschools in Dominica celebrate Commonwealth Day. Veronica Pascal is the recipient of the Exceptional Woman Award for 2015. Caribbean lawmaker believes Dominica's ascension to the CCJ signals a new era. And in sports, Dominica Cricket Academy registers victory in the opening game in the Premier Division competition. And that's all the time we have for tonight. Until tomorrow, drop us an email, friend us on Facebook, and be sure to like our 767 News page. From all of us on the 767 News production team, I am Tanya Green, thanking you for watching and inviting you to join us again tomorrow.